you should be hearing this for your first time. What is a podcast? A podcast is just a set of audio recordings. And with audio, I mean you will hear someone's voice, but you will not see the person who is talking. So the podcast will always allow you to distribute content via audio files. Some of you are well versed with the different audio clips. So you can distribute these files over the internet, and these audio clips are not so much different from the audio clips you see on, like the person you're seeing on TV talking or people you hear on radio talking. But the difference is that for the TV and radio series, they are real time. But for the podcast, they are not real time. And with this, I mean someone will record a podcast and you will download it and you can use it later on your own device. Unlike the TV and radio series, where you're hearing and seeing, maybe where you're seeing for the TV series and hearing when a person is talking at that very moment. So a podcast is just a set of audio recordings. Someone comes up with different recordings, puts them together, and then they form what we call a podcast. And these audio recordings can be in form of segments, which we shall see later on within our class. Next slide. So why do you think, after us understanding what a podcast is, why do you think we need to learn, why do you think podcasts are important to us as teachers? There are different tools which we need to learn as teachers. And with the 21st century teacher, you must move with the use of ICT. Learning has been made easier with the use of ICT. And we have a number of tools that you can use to deliver content to your learners. One of them is a podcast. So why is it important, or why is it necessary for us to learn how to use podcasts? Podcasts help us make creative assignments. As you're going to see, you can include background music, you can include music interlude within your content. So besides you delivering the content that you want to deliver to your learners, it is also motivating to listen to. The podcast can help us receive audio explanations and feedback from lecturers. A lecturer will send you a podcast with content that you really want to listen to. You will listen to, and he'll give you an assignment. You, as a student, can also record your own podcast and you send it back to the lecturer. So it helps you receive feedback from your lecturers. And there are also concepts that seem so hard. Maybe you did not grasp them very well in class while the lecturer was teaching them. But if you continuously listen to these podcasts with the same content that was delivered, you will get to know or understand what exactly the lecturer was meaning. The podcasts also help us store audios in one place. Like I told you, you can develop different segments of different content, but all these ones can be stored in one place. You can always refer to them when you want, or you can download them and listen to them later. You can listen to them when you're in your halls of residence. You can listen to them when you're at home. So our podcast helps us, it helps us to keep our audios in one place. So it is an online platform for storage of information. Next slide. So after us understanding the use and what a podcast is, let us look at an example of some of the podcasts that have been created by the different lecturers. So these are two examples of podcasts. The first one is from Madame Sarah Naova, and during the lockdown, she has been continuously developing these podcasts for one of the papers in geography, that is project work specifically. And we have the whole project report, information that you need to write to develop a report in form of podcasts. And all this information, if you did not have access to it during the lockdown, this information is still there. You visit the one-stop portal, You go to the geography column, especially for days 2, you will find all these podcasts in the portal. So please enjoy this podcast from Madam Sarah.
Literature review. One of the requirements in research is a demonstration by the researcher that he or she understands the issues and facts surrounding the problem at hand. So in order to be able to understand that problem, the researcher must extensively read several articles that relate somehow to the topic of investigation.
Thank you so much. That was a podcast from Madam Sarah. And the second example was from Madam Naigaga Hajira. She was trying to deliver a lesson on low-cost teaching materials. Please listen to it.
Hello, my students. This is Madam Naigaga Hajira, your lecturer for geography. So today, I wanted us to look at the low-cost teaching learning aids in geography. They are either called low-cost or no-cost teaching learning aids. What are they? These are any objects prepared with simple materials, and with simple I mean locally available materials that are within our reach.
Thank you so much, Amandine. So those are the examples of the podcasts. So today we are going to look at how we create those different podcasts. So with that, I want to invite our next presenter, who is called Michael Oriokot. Michael, you're welcome.
Right. Thank you so much, Madam Naigaga Hajira, for that wonderful presentation. I am Oriokot Michael, a student of National Teachers College, Kaliro. And at campus here, I'm a leader, and I serve in the position of the guild president. So today, my role is to take us through the tips on creating successful podcasts, and we are going to see through as we move. Yes. For us to have a successful podcast, what we need to do, the first thing that we need to look at is preparation is the key. We need to prepare thoroughly such that we can have our podcast created in a successful manner. Now, how do we prepare your podcast? The first thing that we need to put into account is you read your assignment carefully. What does the assignment request you to do? And what do you want to bring across in your podcast? So those are all questions that you're supposed to answer when you are reading your assignment carefully. Now, you have to think of what you want to do. Like if it's a lecturer, you want to have your assignment, or there is a topic that you need to disseminate to the learners. So you have to go through that topic, you get that assignment, and then now you come and answer this question. You have to see that what do I need really to include in this particular topic. Now, number 2, is planning the content. Start a brainstorm and make sure you write down the concrete ideas. Now, when you now have your assignment, you've answered the question of what the assignment is requesting you to do, you have now to brainstorm within the topic that you've chosen, that what are those concrete ideas that I really need to include in this podcast. You'll find that those concrete ideas are things that you really see that they are essential, that you can't do away with if you want really that topic for students to understand it very well. So you have to generate all those concrete ideas, all those essential ideas, and then you jot them down after your brainstorm. The third thing is that you need to work on the structure. This is now building your podcast. And now here you need to optimize the way you want to bring your content. Now, when you're building now your podcast, it means now you need to improve on the content that you planned. After now you brainstorm, you have gotten those concrete ideas that you need to include in your podcast. It means now you have to come up and then you improve on those ideas. And now how do you improve on those ideas is by you looking into what, how you need to package your information such that it flows and it does not really bore maybe the students. It does not, you don't go astray of the content that you had planned. So that's why we are saying now you need to optimize the way you want to bring out your content. And by optimizing means we need really to improve on that content that we planned. The first step that we need to put into account when we are to prepare a successful podcast is the rehearsal stage. Now, what do we have in the rehearsal stage? Here we say, before doing the actual recording, make sure that you rehearsal on the content that you have. Now, here now, it means you have now your assignment, you have already brainstormed, you have the concrete ideas that you need to put across, you have improved on the content that you planned earlier. Then now here, you come and rehearsal. By rehearsal, it means you pass through that content, you pass through it, and you explain it better, maybe outside. Then now when you come to record yourself in that lecture, it means now you will not go astray of the content or the information that you package to have it recorded such that you disseminate to your learners. Now, still, how do you prepare the successful podcast? Here we have the images of how we can really prepare our podcast. Now, the first thing we have sketch ideas. Now, these sketch ideas, it means you gather the information that you really want to include in your podcast, but of course, relying on the topic that you chose. Now, like when we look at here, we have it that, hello, I hope and I pray you are, you have, your life is safe. Now, this is Madame Sarah. This is how she prepared her podcast. She just first had to sketch the ideas. Then now, in the next step, she was now growing on the ideas that she had sketched earlier. Now, when you're coming to this second stage, you'll find that you will be following what you had in the first stage, but you will be erasing or replacing what you thought was not necessary in the first stage. Then you bring it here. It means now you're building it up by erasing those other things that you don't need, by replacing maybe the ones such that your information, your message, your topic flows on well. Now, after you have grown up your podcast, now you come to the last stage. And in the last stage, we will call it the final structure. Now, in the final structure, you base on what you had in the second stage. Here now, it means you're generating the final copy of what you really need to record yourself about. Now, what do you do here? You are going to have that information written again on the paper. Now you have to rehearsal it such that now you come out and then you record yourself such that you are in line with the ideas, you're in line with what you needed to achieve at the end of the day. Now, here the second thing is the additional tips. Now, in the additional tips, we have the additional tips for creating successful podcasts. Now, these are extra things that we need to put across if we really need to come up with a successful podcast. Now, what is the first thing? We have the voice on your podcast. Now, here we have storytelling, we have intonation, we have enthusiasm, and then the pauses. Now, when you are to now record yourself, you need to put into account the voice that you are going to use. Now, when we look at, maybe you need to tell a story at a certain point, so you really need to package yourself and then you position yourself freely, and then you do that. The intonation, it means now that one you follow up the words, how they are supposed to move. So now you have to, if maybe there is where there's a full stop, and you really package it, and then you arrive at that point in a rightful manner. Now, the other thing is the timing. Now, what is the ideal time for someone really to have a very good or a successful podcast? Majorly, we need a podcast that runs between maybe 20 to 30 minutes per episode. Now, why do we have it like that? Sometimes you may find that you may explain it for long, and maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, 1.5, 3, but really at the end of the day, you'll find that that information will be boring. Somebody listens from maybe for maybe 1 hour, 2 hours. So the information really will be boring. So we need to have it in the shortest time possible, such that when somebody comes to listen, will enjoy what has been presented. Then this other thing, we have use music skillfully. Now, we can easily see from what Madam Hajira was presenting in those examples of the podcast that we created, you'll find that somewhere there was music, and now that music you'll choose to have it, either you want it when you're introducing, or you really need to have it at the background. And now, what do you mean by when you're introducing and you need to have music? It means maybe you can play music for some seconds and then you pause it, then you can have yourself recorded, or you can decide to have it at the background of your recording or your podcast. Now, that is basically that. Then we have still more additional tips for creating successful podcasts. And here we have, think about the content. Now, you have to make sure that you are confident about your topic. Now, remember when we're having the tips on how to create a successful podcast, we really moved through all those steps. Now, by you really now thinking about the content, you planned it, now you're improving. And now when you come to the rehearsal stage, I really believe that you'll make that content be part of you, such that when you are now presenting or you're now recording yourself in that podcast, you will not go astray, or you will not really involve again things that you had not planned to have, but rather you will be in line with what you had planned. And by so doing, you really be confident on the topic that you are handling. Then lastly, we have to show off the structure. Here we say we need to have catchy opening and then interesting introduction. So it now depends on you and how you need your podcast to be. If you want to have it to have a catchy opening, Remember somewhere we talked about maybe storytelling. We now talked about music. Now it depends on how you want it to be interesting, such that when now somebody listens to a podcast, by the time the person opens and is starting to listen, it will be really interesting and captures the mind of someone, and somebody will really be interested in picking up the message which is following next. So with that, I'll really say thank you. And I'm going to invite our next presenter, and that is Madam Naova Thara, to take us through the introduction to Anchor. Thank you for listening. God bless you.
Thank you, Michael. This is Naova Thara, lecturer, National Teachers College, Kaliro. I'm happy to be part of this class, and I would like to introduce to you Anchor, the application that we are going to use to create our podcasts. Next. Okay, what is Anchor? Anchor is a free all-in-one platform where you can record, edit, and host your podcast. So this is a platform that can do very many things around our podcast creation. So what equipment will you need to make your podcast with Anchor? We shall need a computer, which can be a desktop or a laptop. It can be a mobile phone or even a tablet. Remember, this is an audio file, so we need to have a microphone, which is working because we need to speak and record what we speak. But luckily, almost all digital devices have an internal microphone to use. So if you're going to record your podcast, just make sure it is working. Next. So now I'm going to perform a live demo on how to create a podcast. Amandine.
You should be able to share, Sarah.
Yeah, yes, I'm there now. Okay, here we are. Now, like you did for other applications, if you do not have an account for Anchor, you need to first register and get one. So you have to have your browser. I'm using a Google Chrome to create an Anchor account. So here you type anchor.fm. And you can see all these, but all you need is this one, the easiest way to make a podcast. So you click on that. And when you are there, because you do not have an account for Anchor, you're going to sign up. Remember the steps that you go through when you're signing for a certain account. So you'll be asked your details, your Gmail, and your so they'll send a link into your email to be able to click on it, and then it will take you to Anchor. But if you already have an Anchor account, that is next time, you just have to log in with your username and password. So I created mine, but like I have said, you'll be prompted on what to put, and then you'll be given a link to take you here. So when you reach here, you log in with the details that you have been given. So you'll put your Gmail, mine is naovasa@gmail.com, and then you put in your password, and then you click here to log in. So when you log into your Anchor account, this is what it will look like without what you see here. This is because my account already has podcasts in it. But you'll see a dashboard. This is the Anchor icon, a dashboard, episodes, new episode, and settings. But for now, for creating our podcast, this is what we need. We shall explore the others after. So we need to create a new episode. So when you click new episode, you come here and look at this interface. You'll see that there is a tool for recording. There is a tool, this one will capture your audio. what you speak will be captured by that recorder. There is a tool for messages. This is if there are any other message in your podcast, this is the tool that will allow you to bring them in. Now there is a library. This library will keep all the podcasts that we have created. It is where you go to look at what you have in, like we have a library for books and something else. There is also the last tool, transitions. This one contains free music and sound effects, which you can use in your podcast as you create. We also have this side, the right-hand side. There is space where we shall be putting our podcasts for creating our episode that we want. So now, without taking more of the time, I'm going to use the recording tool. Now I'm a student whose lecturer has asked me to explain how I'm going to use brainstorming in my next lesson when I go to teach. So I'm going to record a podcast and send it to my lecturer explaining what I'm going to do during my practice. So here you'll see there is start recording now, and they say we can hear you. So I'm going to start, and I beg that you pay attention, but also you be patient because it's a process that must be completed. Thank you very much. In this podcast, I'll explain how I'm going to use the brainstorming technique in my Senior 1 Geography lesson tomorrow at Kalilo High School. So I'll stop recording. Now, if you see there is some activity here, this is where my recording is uploading. So I'll patiently wait for it to complete. And I request that you wait with me. So I'm waiting. You know, with technology, we have to be patient. Okay, you can see it's coming. After, then it is now processing. It's soon getting ready. So it is ready now. When you play here, you listen to what you have recorded to see whether you like it or not. But here, you can edit by clicking on this and then backspace to delete and give it a title. Mine will be introduction because I was introducing my podcast. So after that, now my podcast has a name. I can see it's 12 seconds. But I would also like to record another episode. Okay, so I'm going back to my tool to record a short clip. In the lesson, I'm going to ask my students to generate ideas about what weather is, and I'll create a mind map from their responses. So I'll stop. So remember, I have already written down, not the exact words, but what I'm going to talk about. So it is not coming from the head, but I have clues on what to say so that I don't take long saying things that I'll also like to delete. Okay. I'm waiting. I hope you're waiting with me. Now, as we wait there, I'm going to pick this one, which I already did, to take it to the workplace. You can see when that comes, I'm going to lift it and take it to the right. Has it gone? No, it is not going because there is. Okay, it is now ready. There's no more activity. I also want now to give it a name. because I said I'll use a mind map. Okay, you can see this is also 12 seconds. I'll record my last one for the sake of time. Okay, record. I am going to ask my learners to tell me the types of weather. So they will think individually, pair, and then share their response to the rest of the class for us to learn. Okay. The same process will take place. It will upload, process, and then it will be ready to be used. I thank everybody who is around and patiently waiting for us to have our full podcast. I'm learning with you. Like I said, we have to be patient. There is no way we can hurry this lady or gentleman, but soon we shall be there. So as we wait, you can see that the episodes that we have created are here in this column. But like I said, I'll have to put them here on the right so that I don't mix them up with the others. This column has so many others that I have created. They're here, so they keep on piling. But now, this is the one, these are the three that we are going to use. So this is like a library where you come and pick what you have created. But for now, we only want to have three of them. This one is taking quite long, but we shall wait here. And the other has the first one. So as it loads, remember we said that in the introduction, a podcast can just be what you want to speak, but you can spice it up with music, or you can have transitions between what you say so that the one listening is not bored with one long, same volume, same things, but spice it up. So in here, in our other podcasts, for example, in our introduction, we are going to add some music in the introduction. Remember, like Michael was saying, reading for us the tips. If it is a formal episode, you cannot fill it up with music because there will be points, but you can just spice it up a bit. So the music will not be for all podcasts, but we are going to have one area where we think we can put a little background music. So we have finished here. I'm going to name this Think, Pair, Share. Think, Pair, Share. So we have 3 segments for our episode. So let me carry them this side now that they are ready. Let me carry them to this side. I'll take Think, Pair, Share. I'll also take, you just click, don't remove the hand and drag. It's a drag and drop. Don't move the hand, but drop it there. Okay. So this is the scroll bar that will show me my workplace. So I have my 3 episodes here, but I don't want to have them in this order. So it is also a drag and drop. I want my introduction to come first. So I'm dragging it up. Then my mind map was the second one. I want it there. Then the Think, Pair, Share is there. So I'm ready to go with my 3 episodes. but I want to add a background music for the introduction. So when you click on that musical note, you see the word add background music, click on it. So in your device, in this application, there are a number of calm, cheerful. Do you want a dramatic background, an electronic one? Let me use the calm one because I don't want my lecturer to listen to a lot of cheerful music. Now, this is to adjust your volume. Do you want it loud? Will the lecturer be able to hear your words? No, I don't want it loud. So I'll reduce my volume up to there. And I'll apply. So when I apply, you can see the activity here is going on. I have applied that music. It is going to be background music for my introduction. So when you see this icon, it means there is music here. I'm not going to play it now, but you'll hear it later. So I have music here, no music, no music. But I want some space here so that when the lecturer finishes to listen to my introduction, there is a little pause. So I come here to these tools and I go to this tool called transitions. I'll click and there are a number of options to pick from, but they don't mind their names, but you can look at their length, 10 seconds. Do you want a short 3 seconds, 3, like that? So I'll pick this. You go here to the plus sign and click. So when you click that, it will come to your workplace, this side. You can see the alley has come, but I want 2 transitions. So apart from the alley, I'll take the alley twice so that I don't have so many different sounds in my work. So I want now to drag this and take it where I want to place it. Remember, I want it to act as a bridge here. Between that, I also want it to act as a bridge between the introduction and the mind map there. Has it gone? Okay, let me see. Okay, now I have the introduction, which has some background music, the alley, which is a break, the mind map, the alley again to take a break, and the think, pair, and share. And my work will end with an alley. So I have created this. These are the segments for my episode. There is a save button here, but I want to do something else before we go there. I want to show you how to edit briefly. So if these 3 are additional options, and I'm going to click on it, and you see I have an option to edit my audio, to download that particular file, to remove the background music, or to remove the episode, that is deleting it. But I just want to edit a bit because I felt there was something that needed to be left out. So this is my episode for the introduction. Now, when you come here down, there is a word split. I feel that I can just, for a second, play it there. Now you can see, oh, that was just a sound. I don't want my lecturer to hear all that sound before hearing what I want. So I'm going to reduce a bit of this music by cutting it off. So I'll press there where I want, and I'll come here and put split. So it will split there, but I also think I'll split up to here. When you are working, you listen and see what you cut off so that you don't cut off what you want. But for now, I'll just assume that all that is music. I'll split here. Now, I don't want this part because it is just music and I want to start on point. You can see this icon of delete. So I want to delete that part. So I'll click delete and you can see it has changed color. So the part on the left is what I want to delete. I want to stay with the part on the right. Why? Because it was idle and I don't want to waste or to make a longer episode that doesn't have any content. So that is that. So when I finish splitting, You remember I cut here, I did delete, but if you want to change your mind, there is a restore. So I come down here to save. Now they'll ask me, you can save it as one new segment or multiple new segments. If I say multiple, it means I'll keep this and I'll keep this. But for me, I want to save just one new segment. So that is what I'm going to click. So this is my introduction, which I have been editing. Why did I edit it? Because it had extra music that I felt was not necessary for my assignment. So it is processing. Remember now it has cleared off the other first part that was idle. So now my episode is ready. It's ready here. You have an opportunity of previewing it, that is listening to it. But because of time, we are not going to listen to it now until it is ready. But you can see its structure, introduction, a break, then a thing, mind mapping, a break, think, pair, share, a break. So it is ready. Now I'm going to click save episode. Okay, now I have saved. When you save, it brings you here, episode options, episode title. What do you want to call this episode? I'm going to name it brainstorming. It is up to you, depends upon what you want. Brainstorming technique. So they ask you, what else do you want your listeners to know? Remember, this is going out now to your lecturer, but you'll see that it is not just the lecturer that will listen to it. So here I'm going to say types of brainstorming. That is all I want them to know, that there are different types of brainstorming. So you can save as a draft, but for us, we are ready. When you are ready, you are ready to publish it. Publishing means now you're ready to give it to other people to listen to it. If you don't publish it and save it as a draft, it will not be listened to. But if you publish it, you'll see that a number of people are going to listen to it. So we click the publish. So now this is our episode which we have created. Whatever we have created is here. This is our episode. This photograph is because in my account, I put that, but you can put any other. If you want it relating to what you're going to teach people brainstorming, it will be that. But here it is now, brainstorming technique. And it says, this episode has been published and can be heard everywhere your podcast is available. So everywhere, if whoever has your account for your podcasts will be able to listen to it. And you can share it on Facebook, on Twitter. You can copy a link and paste and then share it with someone else that you would want to hear it. Now let's go back now to the list of episodes. And we see, okay, here is our created episode. These are others, but now it is ready there. Its length is 1 minute and 13 seconds. It has not been played at all. Here there are how many times it has been played. It has not been played. It has been published today, 26 November 2020. Let's see what options we have to. The details of our episodes, you remember we saw them, but there is also copy public link to the episode. Now, how do you now take your episode to your lecturer to receive it? I'm going to copy the link there. I'm going to open my Gmail. I know everybody now has a Gmail, so that I send my episode to my lecturer. So this is it. I'm going to compose. I'm going to send my episode to lecturer Naova Sarah. She's here. I'm going to tell her here, this is my assignment. So I'll come here where I'm supposed to compose. And you remember, I'll paste. Remember, I picked the link. Now I have pasted it here. And I'll say, kindly receive my assignment. Naova Sar. Naova Sar. Okay, so I'll send my assignment now. Sorry. I'll send my assignment to my lecturer. Now I'm wearing the shoes of the lecturer. So the lecturer is here, goes to the mailbox and finds your assignment. It is here. The link is here. So the lecturer will click the link and the episode will be here. So the lecturer will be able now to listen to what I have sent by clicking here. I'm not going to click because of time, but now I'm in the lecturer's email, has clicked the link, now can be able to listen to my assignment and take it. So I was showing you how to share your episode through creating a link and sending it. So we go back now here to our episode and do the last about it. So we are going back here. There is an option that was not there at start, but I hope I'll find it. Now this is the one. Because of the process of the episode, this was not there, the download, but it is there now. What if now I want to download my episode to my device so that I listen to it without internet, offline? So I'll go download, click on it, and it will be here. In this podcast, I'll explain how I'm going to use the brainstorming technique in my Senior 1 Geography lesson tomorrow at Kalilo High School. In the lesson, I'm going to ask my students to generate listening. So here, I'm downloading, and when I click, you're going to see there is an activity here. Here, my episode is here now. So when you go to this arrow, you'll either be asked to open it or to share it in a folder. Let me choose show in a folder. So when you click there, now the episode has been created and it is here now in your file. So you can leave it there and save it there and listen to it whenever you want to listen to it. So that is the way we download our episode for later use. So I'll close this and we have finished downloading the episode. So this is our episode. And I think we have seen how to create it, how to edit by removing what you don't want, how to download it, and how to share it. But lastly, for just a minute, out of curiosity, what is in the dashboard? Let me show you just for a minute. Remember, I said your Anchor podcast can go to very many places. So here is my podcast called Introduction to Research. If I scroll down, here they say, how is your podcast performing? You can see here, there is an already created graph. In June, people listened to it, I think because we were just starting. Here, just a few, no one listened. Here, we have 3 people listening. So you are following how your podcast is going on here. Top 12 people listen to it. November, there are also people listening to it. So you can follow up and see if I gave work, are people listening? If I go down here, these are my podcasts. They are showing how many people, you can see the graph. This is the most played one, the introduction. And lastly, who is listening to your podcast? People in Uganda, Belgium, Romania, Spain, United States, France, Netherlands. have listened to my podcast? Am I international? Okay, don't worry. So these are countries where it has been listened to. So it means that when you are creating your podcast for publishing, it should be accurate. Don't make mistakes and share with others something that will not be right and will not be good for your image. Thank you very much for being with me during this demonstration. We can now kindly go back to our class. Okay, what have we been learning today? We have learned how to create an audio recording using Anchor. We have learned how to edit an audio. We have learned how to save and share our audios with either our peers through our mails, WhatsApp groups, and our lecturers. I can happily say I'm done, and I would like to hand you over to Chizito Odong. God.
Thank you very much, Madam Sarah, for the wonderful demonstration of how to create podcasts using Anchor. And thanks to all the previous presenters for their wonderful presentation. Members, I think this brings us to, we have been learning a lot from the very first presenter. Now we come to the assignment for this week. Our assignment for this week, of course, comes with the saying that practice makes perfect. We've been learning a lot for the past 1 hour or so. Now it's time for us to practice. Now this week's assignment is on podcasting using Anchor, and the deadline is Thursday, 3rd of December. The first task is go to the one-stop portal and read the training materials of this masterclass. After this session, all these materials will be uploaded onto the one-stop portal, so you can visit there and read it more. The second thing is you're required to create your own podcast using Anchor, maximum of 5 minutes. So your own Anchor should have a length of 5 minutes, and it should be on your experience in the master classes so far. And what do we mean by your experience in the master classes? The first, you will tell us how your experience was in the master classes so far, how your experience has been so far in these master classes. And then secondly, you will also tell us which digital innovations will you try, which innovations will you try to use as a current student or as a future teacher? What digital innovations will you use and how will you use them? So that is your assignment for this week. It should be maximum 5 minutes, as I said, and the deadline for submission is 3rd of December. After doing that, you are required to send your work, your podcast, to that email address, ictmasterclasses@gmail.com. That is the assignment for this week. You may ask yourself, where can I find all this information? The answer is consult the training materials, and you can do that by visiting the one-stop portal to find all these materials, and the materials that will be there for today, for the master class of today. You will find the recordings of this master class on the one-stop portal. You will find the PowerPoint presentation also on the one-stop portal. And then you will also find an overview of the assignment. The assignment that we've just given you now, the overview of it is also available on the one-stop portal. And then finally, you will also find written tutorials on Anchor so that you can read more and gain a better understanding about Anchor and how to podcast. So all this can be found on that website, which is what we call the one-stop portal. So kindly take your time and visit there, and you continue learning so that you become an expert in podcasting. The other thing is, kindly support your peers. You might have understood much better than your neighbor. Kindly support your neighbor so that we are all able to learn at the same time, so that at the end, we are all perfect about podcasting. Next slide. We've come to the closing communication, and I would like to give time to my colleague Stephanie. If there is any feedback on questions, you are most welcome.
Actually, Zito, all the questions were actually answered in the chat box. I'm not sure whether Amandine, have you seen a question that should be highlighted? On my side, I think we're all clear, but go ahead.
Maybe just one clarification. So there was a question of whether this is laptop applicable to a smartphone, and the answer is yes. So indeed, there's a small difference between using Anchor on a laptop or a desktop and using Anchor for your smartphone. So the live demo we discussed just now was for a laptop or a desktop. If you are using a smartphone to create a podcast, what you will have to do is download the Anchor application. But don't worry, there will be a video tutorial guiding you through the whole process, but then for the smartphone application, which will also be displayed in the Masterclass shelf. So you can find it there under today's presentation. That's all I had to say.
Thank you very much. We can move on to the next slide. Thank you. We've come to an invitation. Next week, we still have yet another session of the masterclass, which will be on storage and collaboration using Google Drive. We'll be learning more about how to store our files and how to collaborate using Google Drive. You are all welcome to join us by using this very same link that we've been using and that we have used today. But especially recognizing the fact that by next week, we shall have exams started. We want to excuse all the Desk Year 2 students because they will be in for their exams. However, this will not mean that you will have missed everything. Still, on the one-stop portal, you will find the recordings and PowerPoint presentations all uploaded on the one-stop portal about storage and collaboration using Google Drive. And with this, I would like to take this time to wish all the Desk Year 2 students success in their exams, which they're beginning soon. So that is it about next week. But for the rest of us who are not doing exams, you are most welcome next week at this very same time. Still, I would like to extend this invitation to you. This coming Saturday, 28th of November, we have an interesting function called the Kampala Innovation Week, which is going to take place virtually. It's a digital boot camp. You are all being invited to participate and exercise or practice your digital skills. There will be a lot of forums that you can participate and challenge yourself and innovate to find solutions to challenges using ICT skills. So you are all most welcome. It will be this Saturday starting at 8 a.m. It will be virtual and the link is there provided. So still, we'll continue sharing the link and you are all most welcome. Next slide. A brief reminder to you all, we have an online survey that is going on. We highly encourage that you attend. Why do we need to do so? What do you need to do? All of you, for those who have not participated, kindly find there's an online form, survey form, fill in the survey on your e-learning readiness. Who is this for, if you may ask? The online survey is for all Desk Year 2 students. for those who have not yet done. If you have already filled this form, thank you so much. If you have not yet, kindly take a few minutes of your time and you fill this online survey form. It's very important. This year one students, thank you very much for your responses on the phone calls. They received phone calls about this same survey. So we want to thank you so much for your participation by answering your phone calls. Someone may ask, where can I find it? The link is being shared on the chat box right now. And still, it's also available on the One-Stop portal under this week's assignment. So kindly visit the One-Stop portal or watch out at the chat box for the link so that you can participate in this survey. It only takes a few minutes of your time. Why should it be filled in? We want to understand more and improve this as TTE. We want to improve on the implementation of the e-learning strategy. So it is very important that the feedback, by you filling this survey form, you're giving us feedback so that this can be improved so that it becomes a better platform for e-learning. Thank you so much, and we hope that you will all be able to participate. Next slide. Other than that, I want to say congratulations to us all, and thank you so much for attending. See you again next week. And like I said, success to all the this year 2 students in your exams that you are starting soon. I wish you all the best. Our day 4. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week.
Bolingo na pesa na yo, ezali ya kobatelama, motema ya mwana moto, pepo ya bapasi ya lamo, soki ngai nalingi yo, linganga chérie, omipesa tolingana, wana nde kimia. Bolingo komikonyo kolonga, mekomi lokola koloko, maloba toloba katango tobanaka, etikali lokola bafoto, ndenge ngai nalingi yo, linganga chérie, soto mwana moto yo konyokolo, yeba azali pe moto. Bolingo na pesa na yo, ezali ya kobatelama, motema ya mwana moto, pepo ya bapasi ya lamo, soki ngai nalingi yo, linganga chérie, omipesa tolingana, wana nde kimia. Bolingo komikonyo kolonga, ekomi lokola koloko, maloba toloba katango tobanaka, etikali lokola bafoto, ndenge ngai nalingi yo, linganga chérie, nzoto mwana moto yo konyokolo, yeba azali pe moto. Bolingo na pesa na yo, ezali ya kobatelama, motema ya mwana moto, pepo ya bapasi ya lamo, soki ngai nalingi yo, linganga chérie, omipesa tolingana, wana nde kimia. Bolingo komikonyo kolonga, ekomi lokola koloko, maloba toloba katango tobanaka, etikali lokola bafoto, ndenge ngai nalingi yo, linganga chérie, soto mwana moto yo konyokolo, yeba azali pe moto. nakokufa nsima ngai na loboko ya mobali l'amour maladie du cœur ezanga na belokotolo koboya te noki nakokufa nsima ngai na loboko ya mobali mama 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 yeah mama yeah mama mama simate ezanga na pedokotolo nakele monganga aboye olinga maladidika mala ezanga na pedokotolo mama olinga maladidika mama ezanga na pedokotolo
They approve of online. Okay.
What happens to those who just attend from those classes?
That's okay.